What's up, everybody? This is Dale with LackLuster Gaming, and we have fixed our audio. Now today we have a very special episode. TopNotch, third place winner from the King's Cup tournament, is joining us to share his thoughts and experience with the Xbow. But first, we have balance changes, a new arena, new cards. And if you haven't been paying attention, there's a ton of glitches with the clone spell. Let's cover those first. So the first one is hard to spot, but we'll slow it down. If you clone the Lava Hound at the right time, you get a second Lava Hound and a pair of pups. So you essentially get 18 pups out of one clone spell. There's a good example on screen for you there. It's insane, but it has to be precise. Also, the clone spell will override deployment time. That's nuts. I don't even know what to say about that. It also will clone your princess and put her on top of the water. Nothing fancy about that there, but just thought it was kind of cool. Wanted to show you guys that. And you can also clone your emotes. No, you can't. Don't try it. So there you go. There's the new arena, the Jungle Arena, which is coming very soon with these 4 new cards. And these will start coming out in January, I believe on the 13th. So, really interesting. We'll cover those more in a future video. And we will also be covering the balance updates on the day that they drop. Everybody else has footage of them, so you can go find it elsewhere, and it shows up in game anyway, so you can go check it out for yourself. The balance changes are amazing. It's bringing in some major buffs, some big nerfs, and it's gonna change a lot of how we play this game. But without any further ado, I bring to you, and I have to remind you guys, I was extremely sick over this past weekend, still am, the voice is affected, but in this interview, I was extremely sick, but I had to get it done for you guys because I care about you, and you guys need to hear from this guy, TopNotch, the best Siege player out there. Here he is. What's up, everybody? I'm here with TopNotch, the third place winner of the King's Cup tournament. How you doing, bud?
I'm doing great, and what about yourself?
Not too bad, man. It's so good to have you on the show. Thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you.
Hey, so you've been live streaming on Twitch lately, right?
Correct.
What's your channel? I just want to make sure that everybody out there can, go and check you out live.
TopNotch player.
Perfect. And I'll leave a link for that down in the description box, too.
Cool, thank you.
So you're extremely well known for Siege play, and in fact, you used your Siege decks at the King's Cup tournament. Can you kind of walk us through like what a good Siege deck looks like?
Okay, so there are a lot of components to a good Siege deck. You need to make sure that you have a strong form to kill tanks. So like Inferno Tower is usually best.
Okay.
So typically that's almost a given in any Siege deck is Inferno Tower. And then you want a lot of support units, and you want it to be cheap because Xbow is Xbow and Mortar are kind of different, but in this situation I'm going to refer specifically to Xbow.
Gotcha.
So it's 6 elixir, and you need to support it, with a lot of troops. So they can't be expensive because then you won't have a successful push. You'll just spend all your elixir on one unit and then it'll get taken down. So you want to make sure you got cheap tanks. So like Ice Golem, great. Knight, great. Ice Spirit's also great because it stalls. It stalls for you to buy a little bit more time so you can get some more elixir and then support it even further. A lot of air's good because they're going to send ground to take out your Xbow, and then you send air. And if they send air to take out your Xbow, then you have your air to counter it also. So that's why you can see my deck running minions and Mega Minion, because air is kind of like the superiority over ground when you're defending your Xbow. And it takes out Bowler really well too. Bowler gives a lot of Xbow players trouble. So you can drop your Ice Golem to distract the Bowler for your Xbow, and then you drop your minions and your Mega Minion to take it out. Nice. And then you got that slow plus log. You got a lot of support in there. You want just all the support you can get. Good?
Oh, no, you keep going.
I was just going to say, you want all the support you can get as long as you have a good defense, too. You got to make sure you got that Inferno Tower.
What's your personal best right now?
Trophy-wise?
Yes.
4,920, I think.
getting so close to that 5K.
Oh man, I tilted too, ironically. I pushed so hard to get 5K at the end of the last season, and I just couldn't do it. It's so hard.
What deck did you get that high with?
I pushed a little bit with Xbow. This was actually on stream, so I did push a little bit with Xbow, but my Xbow is only level 5. It's just so hard with a level 5 Xbow to get up there, and so I did a little bit more pushing with Graveyard. So I ended up hitting up there, of course, with a well-known and overpowered Graveyard.
That high up on the ladder, you probably see a lot of Royal Giant, and I've heard you talk a lot about, you know, going up against a Royal Giant with an Xbow deck. So can you kind of walk me through your thoughts on that?
Okay, so when you're playing against a Royal Giant, it's going to be rough. Like, there is no easy way to beat a Royal Giant. And most of the time, even myself, a very experienced Xbow player, I am going to lose versus a Royal Giant. It's just you're not favored. However, there are some key things that you can do to better your odds. So those things being, you want to, if you can, try to hide your Xbow. So if you have a hunch that he's playing Royal Giant, try to hide your Xbow, and then as soon as he drops Royal Giant, defend it as efficiently as you can, and then get that Xbow set up, like ASAP.
Like immediately after the Royal Giant came out.
Because then he won't have it in his hand, and hopefully you can get enough damage on to where you can just spell cycle him out. Because a lot of Xbow decks will be running Fireball, and you can just play defense and just try to throw, you know, any opportunity you see to spell his tower and do it. And if he successfully defends that, so you do everything correctly and he successfully defends that. So now you're put into the situation of him knowing you have an Xbow and you know that he has a Royal Giant. So you're going to want to push on the opposite lane. So again, you're going to try to wait for his Royal Giant to be down. However, a good player probably won't use their Royal Giant until you use Xbow. So what I typically do is I go for a draw. Honestly, it's just better to go for the draw than trying to get that X set up. And then if he does put his Royal Giant down, you're kind of screwed because it's 6 elixir for almost nothing, because the Xbow does nearly nothing to the Royal Giant. So you're kind of better to just go for a draw. But if he does go with that aggressive Royal Giant on the other side, then you can go with your Xbow on the other side and just try to defend it as best as you can.
Crown Duel's coming up on the 17th. We know 8 people are going to be knocked out. Are you afraid you're going to be knocked out?
I am, in the sense that I know that I'm going to be coming up against some very stiff competition. Yeah. So I'm definitely, that's on my mind. I wouldn't say I'm scared of it, but that's definitely on my mind, you know, thinking about how I'm going to play around that. So we'll see. I know that there'll be some good matches coming up.
One thing that I noticed, I freeze framed the commercial today, so I know that this is public knowledge that your battle is up against Colton. So it's gonna be pretty tricky. We all know who he is, and are you? I don't want to say scared to go up against him, but how do you feel about going up against Colton?
In my opinion, he is one of the strongest people going. So obviously, it's not ideal.
Yeah.
To play one of the stronger people that are going in the first round. However, I think it'll be a good match, and I think it'll be fun. Yeah. So I'm looking forward to it.
At the Crown Duel, who are you most worried about competing against?
It's a really hard question because of just how good everyone is there. But if I had to pick out a player, it would most likely be Marcel. And the reason being is he is a very skilled player, you know, like myself. However, he's very skilled with something that's ridiculously hard to beat, that being Graveyard. So it's really, really hard to beat a Graveyard. It's a lot harder. Here, let me put it into perspective. It's a lot harder to beat a Graveyard player than it is to beat an Xbow player. When you have that Graveyard coming to you, and if they do it at the right time on a counter push, and they have their Fireball ready for any counter that you have ready, it's like, it's very difficult. So that's probably going to be my biggest worry on as far as competition.
Now, you don't have to answer this if you don't want to, but can we expect to see some Xbow play at the Crown Duel?
So can you expect to see some Xbow play at the Crown Duel? Yes. Depending on my matchups, yes. So If I feel that an Xbow will be suitable for my current matchup, then of course, because that's just what I'm very strong with. However, if I feel that the person that I'm playing against is a very good tank player or very good at playing something that counters what my Xbow, then most likely not. But I feel like I'll get some Xbow in there, most likely.
Yeah, we know that it's in the bag of tricks.
Yeah.
So there you have it, guys. I hope you enjoyed this video. TopNotch is just really a lot of fun to work with. And make sure you go check out his live stream. He's on Twitch. I'll have the link down below for you guys, so you can go check him out. He streams every day at 3 o'clock, usually from 3 to 7:30 Pacific Standard Time. So this footage doesn't do the Xbow deck any justice, and he's gonna supply me with some footage for a future video. I've got another interview with him coming up within the next couple of days, and I'm gonna be at the Crown Duel with him. Hopefully he'll win. We'll see. If he does, he'll be back on the show with more information for us then. But till then, let's check this out. Look at that. It's amazing. This Xbow is just like fierce, and it's extremely like, from what I've learned from watching him, it's a lot easier to play the Xbow in tournament standards and in competitively rather than in ladder matches. And just because of basically the Royal Giant, the Lava Hound, and the Golem, those big tank decks. But other than that, I hope you guys learned a lot. I certainly did. And until next time, you know it. I love you guys, and I'll see you tomorrow. Peace out.